fight alone will make us rich beyond our wildest dreams.
Well, let's get started. It's the Disenfranchised Podcast. We're that podcast all about those franchises of one, those films that fancy themselves full-fledged franchises before falling flat on their face after the first film. I am your host, Stephen Foxworthy, and joining me, as always, the craftiest mofo to ever wear a red sports coat, it's Tucker. Hey, Tucker.
Hello, Steven.
That's me. That's my name, yes.
How's it going?
It goes, man. How are you?
Doing all right. I'm doing okay. I'm doing good. I'm hot. It's hot. And
I
need a pool.
That is a Central Indiana in-joke if ever I heard one right there. That's Watson's is what that is.
Family Fun and Leisure, I believe they're called now.
It is, yeah. Now that they've sold the company, they can't use the name Watson's anymore because that was the family name. And now they don't have the Watson's girl anymore. They have got Mr. Paul Poteet, America's weatherman, Paul Poteet. I
know Paul Poteet, but the Watson girl, she's still around, dude. She still does public appearances and stuff.
Does she really?
If you can believe that.
Here's the thing. She was a very big deal in Indiana for a very particular moment in time. So yeah. I believe it. I once did a blog post many years ago, back when I used to blog, about Indiana celebrities, and she was 100% on the list.
Yeah, dude.
And she was doing those commercials since she was a child.
Speaking of Indiana celebrities, your boy Rupert from Survivor, I was in Shelbyville a couple weeks ago, and he still has his arcade. And he still, through that arcade, still raises a shit ton of money for children's charities. And I think that's fantastic.
Children's charities. He ran for governor once, and I met him twice.
Yeah, seems like a rad dude.
On that campaign.
A little much.
He is a little much.
Still seems like a rad dude.
I met him in, my ex and I went down to Nashville, Indiana. They have these outhouse races. Do you know about the Nashville outhouse races?
I've heard of it, but I couldn't tell you what it is.
The various companies and businesses around Nashville, Indiana, build outhouses and literally race them down a hill.
So it's like a soapbox derby, but with outhouses.
Correct. And they have people like driving the outhouses. It's kind of insane, and it's a real thing. And Rupert was there at the outhouse races, and I met him, got his autograph, the whole nine. The second time was the day of my sister's wedding. I was tasked with like going and picking something up, I think from Panera. So I went to Panera to like get sandwiches or something for the wedding party. And while I was there, Rupert is just chilling out, like meeting with people in the Panera. Like he's just like there, like making a public appearance in the Panera. And so I like shook his hand and met him again. He's like, "You want an autograph?" I'm like, "I actually got one from you down in Nashville." He's like, "Oh, okay." And I was like, "You got it, buddy."
Do you think his closet is like Doug Funny's closet, where it's just a bunch of the same tie-dyed shirt?
Same shirt. I do. Actually, I truly do.
I hope if it's not, I hope if I don't know, but I hope it is.
Don't tell me. If it's not, don't tell me. I don't want to know. Tucker, we've come to the end of yet another theme month. It's a little bittersweet. We are at the end of our Big in Japan 2, Even Bigger theme month, our second sequel theme month ever in the history of this podcast. And we are covering a pretty fun movie. Tucker, what are we covering today?
I don't know. What was it called? Somebody the third, the first? What's that guy's name? Lupin.
Lupin the Third, the First.
Wolf? He's a werewolf? Lupin?
He's not, but that is where the name comes from.
Oh, his hairline is a bit deceiving. I thought he was going to turn into a wolf at some point. That's an impressive hairline.
We will get into the history of Lupin the Third and his namesake character as well here momentarily. But yes, from 2019, Lupin the Third, the First, directed by what's this dude's name? Takashi Yamazaki, who also wrote the screenplay based on the character created by the manga artist Monkey Punch, and starring in the Japanese cast Kenichi Kurita, Kiyoshi Kobayashi, Daisuke Namikawa, Miyuki Sawashiro, Koichi Yamadera, Suzu Hirose, many others. What a cast, Tucker, dare I say, what a picture.
I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, we had fun
What
with
was
this
it?
one.
That director guy, he did something else that I knew when I looked it up. What was
Yeah?
the thing he did that I knew?
I
He
don't
did
know. Let me
something.
look.
You gotta look it up.
I'm looking at his
What he do?
filmography. Let me do this.
I was gonna look it up myself, but I was sending a text.
Damn it, Tucker. This is why we can't have nice things.
I'm so sorry. Godzilla -1.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
He
Yeah.
directed the -1.
He's the director of the most recent Godzilla film, Godzilla -1, the one that won the Oscar. Yeah.
Yeah, and look, I really liked Shin Godzilla. Shin Godzilla is the only Godzilla movie that I have actively enjoyed.
It's so
The other
good.
ones, I don't mind the other ones. They're fine, whatever. Like
Sure.
it's a whole thing, so whatever. But Shin Godzilla, that was something special. And everybody tells me that Godzilla -1 is even better than that.
That's what I've heard as well.
So I might have to look at it.
Friend of the show and Godzilla enthusiast Hope Lickner says it is absolutely amazing. So
Hey, we know that gal.
yeah, we sure do.
Yeah.
So yeah, she was actually thrilled when it won Best Picture, or not Best Picture, Best Visual Effects. Sorry, at the Oscars a couple years ago. Yeah,
That's
so
fantastic.
Yeah, it is. And I've heard it's a good movie, and one day I will watch it.
Me too.
But not today, because today we're watching Lupin III: the First. Tucker, do you have any experience, any kind of history with this character, with this manga, this franchise at all, or is this kind of just the first time watch for you?
So I'm an old person, and this is an old anime.
Yes,
and I have always sort of been interested in a lot of things that are anime adjacent. So I visually recognized these characters.
Okay.
Some of them. Specifically the bodyguard guy with the sword. I've seen that guy before. And Lupin, I've seen him before because he has a very, very distinct looking character design, which I've always found annoying until this film.
Okay. Interesting.
Because like when I first saw him, I was like, why did they draw his face like that? That looks stupid. But then like he was doing some shit and I was like, yeah, he cool though. I like him. He cool.
So this is peripheral awareness of Lupin.
I visually recognized some characters from this, yes. Okay. But that's it. I'm pretty sure I've never seen anything proper. Okay. But yeah, that's it. I was pretty much going into this blind.
For me, it may as well be blind. I've seen one Lupin III film, and that was a few years ago. I decided I was going to watch through all the Miyazakis, and I didn't make it past Mononoke. Like I got up through Mononoke, but the first film that Hayao Miyazaki ever directed is Lupin III: The Castle of Cagliostro. So I have seen that film. And so I was vaguely familiar with these characters and kind of the conceit. I knew Lupin III was a kind of a cocksure gentleman thief in the vein of his namesake. He said cocksure. In the vein of his namesake character, which is Arsène Lupin, who is kind of the original gentleman thief, which is kind of alluded to in this film with the top hat and the cane, which apparently belonged to his granddaddy. Yeah. And so
grandpappy.
There was a character in, I want to say 1800s French or maybe early 1900s French literature called Arsène Lupin, who was again, kind of the quintessential gentleman thief. And his character kind of paved the way for every gentleman thief character that came after, like Raffles, like AJ Raffles, the English kind of version of that. All of those kind of have their origin in Lupin. And so this character, who was created, I think, in the late 60s, 67, if I'm not mistaken, is in effect is meant to be the canonical grandson of the original Arsène Lupin. And so, but when Monkey Punch created the character, he didn't get like rights or permission. Like he was actually going to make the connection like very secret. And then someone's like, no, be overt with that shit. And he's like, all right, fine, I will. Except he didn't secure the copyright for it.
Oops.
So when it was shipped out to other places, it was often like referred to as Wolf, which is kind of the translation of Lupin from French to English.
Yeah.
Or like he had like they gave him the character another name in certain until the name Lupin starts to become public domain. By the time the estate of the original author like got the paperwork together to sue Monkey Punch, in Japan the name was already in public domain, so they couldn't really do anything at that point. But yeah, so like he is canonically supposed to be the grandson of this great gentleman thief, which again we kind of get snippets of allusions to in this movie.
So his quiet friend with the hat. Do you think he never smokes that cigarette?
Mm-mm.
And it always seems like the same cigarette. Do you think that's why it's so bent up and gnarly, is because he just has it, like it's in his pocket?
I don't think you can smoke in cartoons anymore.
In his jacket pocket?
Right. I don't think you can smoke in cartoons anymore, so I think that's
Wasn't
because
somebody smoking a cigar in this, though?
were they?
I feel like maybe.
You might be right.
Or maybe not.
I might have missed it, or I might have
somebody
forgotten
was
it.
smoking a cigar.
Because I have lived since then. Not much, but a little bit. I've lived a little bit since I watched this movie.
Real?
But yeah, just a little. Not much, just a little bit.
Yeah, so we'll pause there. But you check your phone first, though. I just heard it vibrate.
It did. I just unpaused the recording. So that's something that you're gonna have to edit out.
That's fine.
Oh, cool. We are gonna see Second City the day after my birthday.
Well, I mean, you're in Chicago.
I, since I've been up here, have not been to Second City, even though I started a fucking improv troupe in college.
Dude, I will once again, speaking of Second City, I will once again recommend Amy Poehler's podcast to you. It's called Good Hang.
It pops up on my TikTok from time to time, and I have seen snippets, and it seems like a very funny show. The problem is there is one podcast that I really dive it deep into, and I'm so far behind on it that it will take me a long time to catch up.
I've been doing a lot of work lately that is just me. I've just been cleaning cabins.
Right.
In preparation for opening week here in a few weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just me going from cabin to cabin with a speaker, listening to podcasts and audiobooks all day, and it's fantastic.
If I had a job that afforded me that opportunity, you better believe I would absolutely use it. Unfortunately, mine does not.
What's really unfortunate is I used to do a lot of driving.
But you're getting ready to do a lot of driving.
Cross country, well, more consistently. Cross country, and most specifically when I worked at UPS in Buffalo, it was about 45 minutes in traffic, bad traffic, to get to UPS from my house.
Yeah.
So audiobooks, dude. But the thing was, once I stopped having that commute, and once I stopped driving halfway across the country every couple weeks, my audiobook backlog, I had to pause my Audible subscription. I came back a couple months ago. They were like, we'll give you 3 months for 99 cents. What do you say? And I was like, all right, I'll do it. Fuck it, I'll do it. And so I took that opportunity to get 3 more audiobooks.
Yes.
And to listen to the, at the time, which was a couple months ago, the new Dan Aykroyd hour-long little audio documentary thing about the Blues Brothers. That's really interesting.
You were telling us about that. That's right. Speaking of, have you gotten a chance to read a little novel by a little guy named Stephen E. Foxworthy?
I haven't done any reading, but I have decided that because Brian Wilson's autobiography is so kind of scatterbrained and like it feels like something I can pick up and put down at any time,
Okay.
I think that before I finish it, I am going to read your book.
Okay. It honestly, it should be a fairly quick read.
I look at it longingly every time I go to the bathroom.
You can take it in there with you. I won't mind.
No, I'm well, so I'm lying. I do read. I read on the toilet. And I read this book I have from the 70s called Journeys into the Twilight Zone. And it's just a sci-fi short story collection.
It sounds
And
fun.
one of the stories is an old story by Rod Serling, and it's presented by and the foreword is written by his wife.
That's awesome.
That's really its only connection to the Twilight Zone, but they all do kind of have that little Twilight Zone twist.
Which is all you really want from a Twilight Zone episode.
Yeah, but the book's pretty good, and I'm about halfway through it. I read a couple pages every time I take a squirt, you know.
So Lupin III, right?
Wait, before we move on, I have to tell you, speaking of taking a squirt.
I'm trying so hard here.
So like a half an hour before we started this podcast.
I don't want to think about how much of this you're going to leave in and how much you're going to cut out.
I'm sitting on the toilet having a toilet time. I'm doing a number 2, as they say.
As one does.
And I get a phone call from Marvin.
Your husband?
From Basic Training, yes.
Oh, okay.
This is the first I've heard from him since he left on the 18th of last month. It's the first I've heard from him. And he said to me, hey, I wanted to tell you real quick that if you come to my graduation, you have to have a real ID to get into the base. And I was like, all right, dude. He's like, all right, I got to call my girlfriend now. And I was like, fair. And that was the whole conversation. Totally fair. Yeah. Totally fair.
Yeah, I mean, we're married, but you guys, y'all be doing the rest of it. So
I told him, I said, go ahead and call Alexis.
So anyway, at least I know this part's not making it in. Okay.
No, dude, who knows? Anyway. Woo.
Lupin III.
That's 3 times.
3 Lupins.
More than 2.
That's right. But this is not the third Lupin the First film. It is, however, the first computer animated Lupin the Third film. And feels like, I mean, this is kind of a jumping off point for a new thing. It feels very much like they're a franchise reboot. I don't think it's explicitly that, but it definitely has that feel to it, particularly with the new art style, the storyline. The fucking tagline is okay, or is, well, let's get started. Like, I mean,
I tell you, it looks good too, Steven. I really like the animation in this, and I'm usually more of a traditionalist. I usually prefer hand-drawn animation, and while I do think in most circumstances, most contexts, hand-drawn animation is the better way to go, but this is like Jurassic Park levels of using computers to make things visually.
There is a cleanliness to the animation level
that looks so good.
You don't often see in a lot of animated productions. Even, I was going to say outside of America, but God, even American productions these days have gotten fairly lazy.
What I really liked about it was that everything that wasn't a human character was very realistic looking. Like if the characters weren't in the scene, you'd be like, oh, someone took a photo somewhere real.
Right.
But the characters are a tad bit cartoony. So the fact that they were able to marry that and to make that seamlessly, because there were some times where, like, for example, sometimes you'd be seeing what's going on in the big plane and then the camera would pan out of the plane to show the outside of the plane. You're like, man, that's a good looking plane, but I just saw some cartoons in there, though. But that plane looks real.
And the animation style, it's new and it's clean, but it still manages to capture the elements of the original cartoons, the original manga, in a way that's... It feels like a logical progression into, whereas then they're not completely redesigning everything. They're not trying to completely redo it and do it over, but like there's definitely, I don't know, it feels part and parcel of what the earlier stuff was from what I've seen of that.
And a lot of something I really appreciated here too is something that kind of bothers me about anime, not the big budget stuff like Ghibli and stuff like that.
Right.
They don't really do that as much because they have the time and they have the money. But a lot of anime TV series or film series like this, for example, the frame rate is very choppy because they're just not doing as many frames of animation because the animation is so detailed.
Exactly.
And they'd be there for fucking ever. So
right.
It's sort of a visual staple of a lot of anime is choppy frame rate.
Right. And because
and
I think
appreciate it and I get it.
Right. The reason that Ghibli stands apart in that is honestly Hayao Miyazaki and his like perfectionism.
Yeah, that motherfucker will spend a decade on a movie. He don't care.
No, not at all. And then he'll retire and decide, fuck it, I've got more to say. Let me do another one.
I don't know who has retired more, him or the band Kiss.
Right. Or
how many farewell tours have they?
We could probably add Brett Favre to that as well. But yeah.
Yeah. Devo's starting to do that too because they had a farewell tour last year, but you best believe they're still doing festivals after their farewell tour.
Billy fucking Joel, man. He's the same fucking way, man.
I love Billy Joel. I've never seen Billy Joel. I'd love to see him. I'd really love to see him.
I would love to see Sir William Joel, and I would love to see Lord Elton John.
I would also. They were doing those shows together for a while. That would have been the time to do it.
That would have been
a long time. I had so many opportunities.
The last one of those, I think I was like an impoverished teacher at the time, so there was no way I was getting out there as much as I would have loved to. And believe me, I would have loved to. Friend of the show, Dan Allmiller, future guest Dan Allmiller, was a Billy Joel fan and had the Greatest Hits album, and that was a staple on every road trip we took in college. Is we would pop in the Billy Joel Greatest Hits and sing along every word to every fucking song.
I have every Billy Joel album, including the live record Lost in the Attic or whatever it's called, something in the attic, on vinyl. It's set for River of Dreams because it was only released on vinyl in Japan and it's really expensive. And I'm no collector, Steven. I'm just an enjoyer of things. So I'm not about to pay like $200 for River of Dreams on vinyl when I can stream it. I have the cassette tape,
right?
If that counts.
And actually, Spotify exists too.
Well, I'm a YouTube music guy, but that's fair.
True.
I have the vinyl version of Stormfront that I have, which is the record that has "We Didn't Start the Fire" on it. It's famous for that single. I won that. Well, more appropriately, my sister won that record from WENS. 97.1 WENS. Yes. And Bernie she was like the third caller or whatever.
Yeah.
And we got it. And that's why it has the little hole punched in the sleeve. I don't know if you've ever got a record where there's a hole punched in the sleeve, or if you've gotten a CD with like, it looks like somebody took a knife and just cut a slit in it.
Tucker, I worked at Borders and Barnes and Noble. I have so many of those CDs.
It's because it's promotional.
Correct. I have so many of those CDs because I got some great CDs from my time at Borders and Barnes and Noble. I must
say. Samesies. When I worked at the movie theater, you would be surprised how many indie movies will send CDs. Well, back in the day, would send CDs of the soundtrack to the movie theater. Also, in that Stormfront vinyl that I have, it came with this promotional newspaper inside, and this is real newspaper, as everyone on this audio podcast can see. This is a real newspaper, and
I can confirm is on newsprint. It says World News at the top, and there is a photograph of a young Sir William Joel. Fire burns as Stormfront nears.
Yeah, dude. And so I don't really want to read it all because it has that word. So
yeah, no,
I can't say that.
Can't blame you.
But yeah, it's got there's a Reagan assassination attempt article. You've got all of the lyrics to "We Didn't Start the Fire" when you unfold it.
The
It
storm
has
near.
the
Is that what's
years.
the name of that storm? It is Harry Truman, Doris Day, Red China, Johnny Ray.
Yeah, dude. South Pacific, Walter Mitchell, Joe DiMaggio.
Joe DiMaggio.
And it has the years next to each verse because each verse is a different year, right?
That is the thing I respect about Billy Joel and We Didn't Start the Fire is that he goes chronological through the whole
Yeah.
thing. There's a modern remake by Fall Out Boy that is not at all chronological, and it drives me insane.
I never listened to it because I was sure it was going to drive me insane.
It is. Here's the thing. It's fun because it's We Didn't Start the Fire, but like it's all fucking over the place, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
I can't follow this. My partner is a huge Fall Out Boy fan. I have seen Fall Out Boy live in concert. They put on a great
Yeah.
show. They are a good band with good
Oh,
music.
yeah.
But I'm not a fan of that cover.
Yeah, dude. Me neither, and I haven't even heard it.
It is, but you should listen to it at least once. It will drive you insane, but you should hear it.
Before we move on from Billy Joel, the newspaper I just showed you, I think it was only included in the promotional copies because I can't find anything about. I found like one picture of it on the internet.
That's rad as
I
hell.
can't find, not on Discogs. I can't find anything on Discogs about it. It's really cool.
That's pretty cool, though.
It sits on my Whatnot shelf. It's like the backdrop to one of my Whatnot shelves.
I was gonna say you were able to find that very easily, so I had to assume it had a place of prominence on the wall over there.
It sits right under my Kit Kat clock, and I was actually very worried when I grabbed it that I was going to hit my Kit Kat clock's tail.
I have seen your Kit Kat clock. That is the little Felix the cat clock there.
I don't know how pointing works. There it is.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're pointing. I know where it is because I've seen it, but you're pointing.
I don't know.
You're pointing to idle hands, and it's nowhere near idle hands.
Speaking of, you know what I think is cool about this camera angle is look who's in my mirror. Homeboy from Empire Records, just in my mirror.
That's nice.
Isn't that wild?
I mean, I just have Mr. Charles Chaplin over here. That's
you got Robbie Downey Jr. back there. That's crazy.
And then over here, I have a picture of two gentlemen from Asia that were painted by a friend of mine. They look like
guys.
Yeah, they look like they're a movie poster, and people would ask me like, "What movie is that?" And I was like, "No, it's just literally just two guys that my friend painted." And I told him
make up a movie.
I told him how much I love that painting, and so he just gave me the painting.
Nice.
Yeah, because he's a good dude.
He's a rad dude. Everybody loves him.
Absolutely. Honestly,
gotta love him.
Honestly, though, when you move back to Indy, you need to check out his coffee house. If you're in Indianapolis, check out Calvin Fletcher's Coffee Company. And if Jeff is there, tell him Stephen Foxworthy sent you.
I'm sure I will remember that in 2 months.
I will remind you if you need me to.
I would like for you to.
If you'd be like, "Hey, Steven, what's the name of that coffee shop and who's that guy you told me to say hi to?" I will tell you.
You'll be like, "What?
What?
You have no idea what?
Coffee? What?" There's only like 2 coffee houses in Indianapolis that I recommend, and that's the first one. So I will probably remember.
Is the other one that one on the south side, that hippie place? What's it called? Strange Brew.
No.
Have you been there?
I have. Of course I have. I lived on the south side for years.
I had a friend who worked there for several years.
I used to go there to buy my coffee. Like I bought coffee there for a long time when I was living on the south side because they have really good coffee.
Their coffee is the jam.
Their coffee is really good. But you know, the other one is Brick House Coffee Company on the east side of town. I don't know what side of town you're going to be living on when you move back to Indy, but
I kind of want to be somewhere in Garfield Park, Fountain Square area.
I mean,
near East Side.
Calvin Fletcher's is in Fletcher Place, which is Fountain Square adjacent. So
you not tell me where Fletcher Place. I know where fucking Fletcher Place is. Okay.
It's right next door to Bluebeard, the restaurant Bluebeard.
So, yeah.
You know right where it is then. Yeah.
I do. I know exactly. That's a weird place for a coffee shop. I'm into it.
Yeah, it's fucking rad. The guy that opened it is an old pastor of mine, and his son and I went to elementary school together. His mom was my principal.
Nice.
So and like his parents opened the place and then retired recently, so he just runs it. Like that it's his place now.
Oh, nice.
So yeah. Calvin Fletcher's Coffee Company in Indianapolis, Indiana, non-sponsored. They don't need to sponsor us. They rule regardless. So
Friends of the show.
absolutely.
Show
Friends of the
adjacent.
Absolutely. So yeah, absolutely check that place out when you're in Indianapolis. But also Lupin the Third.
Boy, I tell you what, we were talking about that animation, Steven.
And it's good. Like
We were talking about it, and I was talking about the juxtaposition between the cartoony characters and the realistic everything else.
Right.
And it kind of made me think that not even really Pixar does that.
No.
Like all that Pixar looks good. Pixar be looking good.
Absolutely.
But like it all looks like a cartoon, which I'm sure is easier to do.
Yeah.
I mean, the people on this movie challenged themselves and they knocked it out of the park.
Right.
Like the water, when they were pulling out off that boat at the end, I was like, damn, that water looks good. Some good looking water, dude.
Honestly, the only scene that I was kind of like, really? Was like the opening one. The parts of the animation looked, because of the shadows in that opening scene, looked a little off. But honestly, the rest of it is so solid that I forgave it immediately.
I did not have a problem with that. The only issue with the animation that I saw was there was one point, I don't know if it was intentional or not, but I did not like it, where the police guy that's always chasing him is saying his catchphrase, which is the title of this movie, basically.
Lupin!
And like his teeth moved in an unnatural way. And it took me out of it for just like not even like a quarter of a second. I was like, wait, what? Oh, this is cool.
Yeah.
But I was like, teeth don't move like that. What's going on? Hey. But he didn't do it the rest of the time. So it was either a goof, some sort of error, or they were just being silly in a way that I don't quite understand.
Which I think it's probably the latter, because these movies, they're particularly that character, there's an era of silliness about it. Mm-hmm. Like this character is a combination of Arsène Lupin and James Bond. And so like there's kind of that like silliness inherent within it. Like that opening sequence, which it reminds me of like a Bond song. And you see the Interpol agent like screaming and like making the Interpol, and then getting trampled by said Interpol agents. Like that kind of just sets the scene. And there is an inherent silliness with all of this that I find just really fun and really charming.
Well, I'm going to have to cut that out. It's so funny because I just turned my mic back on after a coughing fit. Like the whole time Steven was just talking, I was coughing my dick off. And I come back and just automatically just snort the snortiest snort.
Immediately snort right into the mic. And I'll just let you know,
deep into it too.
I've been enjoying myself this evening, so I'm susceptible to laughter at this moment. I'll just say
Steven's doing a little 420 pre-gaming right now. He's pre-gaming a little bit.
We're recording this on 4/19, so yes, I am pre-gaming just a tad. After this episode, obviously, will come out after 4/20, but yes, I'm enjoying the benefits of living in Illinois, a place where THC is readily available if I want it,
and straight up legal, and not that Delta 9 shit either.
Correct. And the fact that the closest coffee shop to me is literally a dispensary. Like I can go and get a THC infusion coffee, and it will be the closest coffee to me that I can get, other than my kitchen, which of course I keep the ingredients to make a great cup of coffee on hand at all times. But
Steven, did I tell you that I recently became more fancy?
You did.
I did. Did I tell you about that?
No, you did not.
I'm a French presser now, dude.
I'm so fucking proud of you.
I French press, homie.
Do you have do you have a burr grinder?
I have a coffee grinder.
Okay.
That I bought because Jimmy gifted me whole bean coffee. And I was like, what the fuck I'm gonna do with this?
You know
like,
what?
well, I gotta buy a grinder. And I was like, okay.
Thank Jimmy. because honestly, that is the best thing that could ever happen to you is getting whole bean coffee and needing to purchase a grinder. During the pandemic, I decided to go all in on coffee prep and like coffee ritual. And so I bought myself a burr grinder. The version that I got is now like $50, but I bought it for like 200 because I bought it during the pandemic.
No.
And I got to tell you, I have had it for 5 years and it still gets the job done. I will just pour a bag of coffee into the hopper. And then I will, when I'm ready for a cup to grind my coffee, I will press the button. I can set the coarseness of the grind and set the amount of coffee that I need, and it will give me the exact amount I want for either the French press or my mocha pot every fucking time. It is so good. I have, if you're serious about coffee, I have to recommend getting a burr grinder.
I have a McCafe grinder. It was like $5. It does the job though, because it does, you can select like how coarse or fine you want it.
That's perfect then. That's what you want.
Yeah, and then you tell it like how much you're filling it up. There's a little button on that. It's all analog. And then you just put it in the little thing at the top and push down the lid and it grinds.
Right.
And it has a little timer based on how much you said was in there and how thick or thin you want your coffee. It's a nice little grinder. It's $5, man. I couldn't beat it. $5.
You can't beat $5. You really can't.
For just a little coffee grinder. It's a wonderful little coffee grinder.
I am willing to spend money to make sure that I have a really good cup of coffee in the morning, because that is one of the very few things that I take seriously in this life. So
see, I need a good
cup of coffee.
I've gotten fancier about it because I can afford to. If it's something that I used to drink coffee all the time, and I just want the coffee because I'm drinking it all the time. I just want it. I don't care how I get it. Just give it to me, preferably quicker.
Hook it
slower
up to my veins.
But I don't really drink a lot of coffee anymore. Like even during the winter, I drink coffee. I'll have an evening coffee maybe 2 or 3 times a week.
Daily.
And then maybe once a week I'll have a coffee in the morning. I appreciate it differently now.
That's fine.
I drink it for different reasons. I drink it now because I enjoy it, not because I feel like I have to have it because of some kind of ritual, which there's nothing wrong with that.
I appreciate I enjoy the ritual. So I want to do it daily, not only because I want the caffeine and I love the taste of coffee, which I do, both of those things. Mm-hmm. But I mean, the one and only sponsor, quote unquote sponsor, this show ever had was a coffee company. And that's not by accident.
Yeah, I know. They still fucking email me.
And I mean, honestly, you could do a lot worse than Geek Grind Coffee. I think if you still use our promotional code, we still get a kickback from that. So if you use the promo code franchise on geekgrindcoffee.com, we will still get like a portion of that. So I have not gotten Geek Grind Coffee in a number of years. Maybe I change that. Maybe I do that.
I bought it when you guys were doing the sponsorship thing.
When we had the promo,
I was not involved with the podcast in any way in those days.
I feel like you kind of discovered us because we met on one of Joseph's like sets, and we just got to talking, and I was like, podcast, and you were like, I'm in. Or maybe it was like Joseph promoted it when he was on one time, and you were like, okay, I'll listen to this, and then you just got into it. But
Joe told me about it.
Okay.
I do not remember the context. I just remember that it was him. And I want to say, was it the Space Truckers?
Maybe that was his first episode. His first episode. The first episode we actually ever had a guest on was Space Truckers.
Which Shout Factory has released from what I've read, fantastic looking Blu-ray of Space Truckers.
I kind of want to check that out.
It might still be on sale. It was like half off.
I'm gonna
a couple weeks ago.
But no, yeah, Joseph, good friend of ours, good friend of yours. He was our first ever guest on Disenfranchised.
He is my brother,
and you guys have known each other for a number of years. He's also the one that recommended that we bring you on as third host. So
He was working both sides of that because he
he
kept telling
absolutely
me
was.
I should bring it up to you guys, and I was like, man, I don't have time for that shit, man.
And you know, when
So I
I
don't
had
want to take all the attention from the other guys. You know, I don't want to shine too bright. I believe I said to him.
when did that change? Is as I guess my question there.
JK, I would never say that.
But no, like, yeah, Joseph, we need to get him back on soon.
Yeah, when was the last time he was on? Was it the
Captain Invincible, I think.
Okay, yeah, that was
That's
the
been it's
straight
been a
up.
couple of years, so we need to get him back on.
Well, it's my fault because I sort of kind of pushed him into that in the last minute, and it's not a good episode, unfortunately, because it's a really good movie, and I really wish it was a better episode, but it's my fault for a lot of reasons. But and he had just been on too. That's what was kind of weird about it, is we just had him on, and then I don't know, the vibe was really weird. Go back and listen, or maybe don't go back and listen to
I was
Return
gonna
of
say
Captain Invincible.
I don't really remember that episode all that well. It's been a couple of years. I've slept since then and not well either. So,
well, it was one of those moments in my life where like I embarrassed myself. So of course that sticks with me.
Sure.
Of course I edited that out,
but you still remember it. That doesn't you edited it out of the episode, but that doesn't erase the memory.
I have the power of Command X.
Right. That is as the editor, that is your prerogative too.
Chop, 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 chop. Back in the day, we used to use razor blades, Steven. You ever edited on a reel-to-reel machine, Steven?
I have not.
You ever cut film, Steven?
I sure haven't.
You just like a naked razor blade. Just a naked razor. You just hold it in your hands. Fantastic. Boy, the analog days, I tell you what. Anyway, you were going to say something about this movie?
I mean, look, Lupin III is great. I love, first of all, is there a better kind of movie, a better subgenre of movie than a heist movie? And this is like an adventure / heist movie / animation. So like there's a lot going on here, which is really fucking cool. I like the dynamics of the characters. And again, that's all kind of laid out in the manga. Apparently in the manga, the team, as they are here, have more of an antagonistic relationship. Like they're all trying to like one up each other. Whereas
I think their official names are Everybody. The team is named Everybody. I think that's their official name.
The team consists of its Lupin III, obviously. It's the sharpshooter character who is Jigen, Daisuke Jigen.
He catches everybody in the cars. He's the car catcher guy.
He's the car catcher guy. And then there's the samurai Gaemon Ishikawa the 13th.
I'm sorry I keep interrupting you, Steven, but like I keep trailing off into other subjects, so I want to say as much about this movie as I can. And there were so many moments in this movie where I just laughed my ass off, dude. This movie was funny.
It is. It's a
and like
movie.
Normally for me, the Japanese sense of humor, the jokes that are normally in these kind of movies, it doesn't really. I don't get it.
Right.
Like it's not bad. I'm not against it. Like, great. But I don't get it.
It's the same lost in translation.
When I lived in Germany, it was the same way, dude. Like I don't get their humor either. It's weird, man. I don't get it.
Oh, we'll circle back to Germany for this movie later.
Boy. But anyway, yes. Too bad it wasn't Mike Myers in this one.
Right?
Yeah, but this movie was funny, and one of the times that I laughed the hardest was when they were escaping the big plane, and the gal has them on the plane, and the plane gets busted up, so they're jumping into the car, and quiet guy
Jigen
catches the pilot lady.
Fujiko Mine.
And then our boy jumps off and and just
Face
hits the
plants
ground.
in the desert. Yeah, just
And
face
homeboy's
plants.
like, my hands were full, man.
Sorry, my hands were full. Like, I'm not going to put down this gorgeous, buxom lady.
Right? Like, and
Uh,
that's I like that because some of the stuff, like in other contexts, could be considered like misogynistic or patriarchal or whatever. But this movie was too wholesome to really take any of that, the more blue stuff, in a bad way, or even in a
and
way that I would take it in a different context, in a different movie.
it's still there, though. Like, to be clear, like,
Mhm.
at one point she drops her dress in front of Lupin and he, like, stops talking and goes, oh.
Oh,
And then it kind of cuts to her in, like, a different outfit, like a pilot's outfit. And then later when he jumps off the plane and she catches him, he's like, well, maybe I can, like, pay you back with my body. And she's just like, oh, geez. And, like, that's it. Like, that's it.
well,
Like, that is
I
the
think
extent of the sexual tension in this movie. It's amazing.
well, I think these characters have kind of a comedic innocence to them,
Right.
to their personalities, specifically the main character. It's kind of like a Jay Muse of Jay and Silent Bob fame. Like, they're just too silly to take seriously in that way. Like, you can't get mad at them
I mean,
for
there
being a
is
certain way, you know?
there I mean, because again, he isn't somewhat inspired by James Bond. There is kind of that ladies' man ish-ness to him. In the manga, apparently, like, he's more successful with a ladies' man, kind of using them and discarding them, kind of a thing. Whereas in this movie, he's rarely successful, or like in the anime and the film series, he's just kind of rarely successful.
Well, and some of this stuff it's a little blue, but it's not threatening.
Right.
It doesn't feel malicious or creepy or weird.
Exactly.
Like I said, in a different movie, some of that stuff would play differently, but that's not like you spend some time with these characters and like when she takes her clothes off and he's like, "What?" Like natural reaction. Like,
right.
what? There's nothing like creepy or weird about that.
No, there's a naked lady in front of you. You're going to stop and go, oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You know, unless you're just not into naked ladies, which not everybody is. But, you know, if you are, you're going to be like, oh, okay.
Well, even if you weren't, I feel like you would be sort of startled by the fact that she just like dropped trowel in front of you.
True.
That would probably still get a similar reaction, maybe for not the same reason.
Potentially. But yeah, like it just, and again, this is clearly something for kids. So even like some of the darker things are still kind of played a little lighter. Like there's an entire Nazi subplot in this movie.
Lots of Nazis in this movie.
Lots of fucking Nazis in this movie. Almost as many Nazis in this movie as there are in the current United States government, which is fucking wild.
Oh, I was going to say in Blues Brothers, but
I mean that too. Illinois Nazis. I hate Illinois Nazis more now that I live in Illinois, quite frankly.
You did it.
Because they're occupying the same fucking space as I am.
Yeah.
But like there's an entire like Adolf Hitler is still alive subplot at the end of this movie that is comes out of left fucking field, but like
does it? Because they allude to it way early in the movie, like when we first meet the bad guy who's helping the guy that killed the gal's parents,
Gerard,
that raises her. Am I making sense here? The guy with the scar on his face, not the old doctor. They're both Nazis.
Gerard.
When we first meet him, that's like one of the first things he says. He's like, "Look at this picture. It's fucking Hitler, homie."
Oh, I missed that.
He's still alive. So it was very early on that seed was planted. So when that happened, I was like, well, fucking course he's alive. They showed us a picture at the beginning. I did love how they were like, no, you're an idiot. Like, we faked that picture and put it out because you're dumb and we knew you'd fucking fall for it.
Yeah, that was an Interpol plant to see if Nazis are still around. And surprise, they are.
I loved it.
The whole there's still Nazis subplot plays a lot differently in 2025 than I'm sure it did in 2019. Although I guarantee you the first Trump presidency did quite a bit to kind of loosen that wheel. But the one good thing I will say about the Trump administration is that it really has made Nazis really just fertile ground for villainy again.
Were they ever not? Though?
There was a time when you're like, can we still make Nazis the villains of things?
Because they're Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Anymore.
Kingdom of the Crystal Skull was Nazis. And that
No,
was
it
like early
wasn't.
2000s. Yeah, it
Those were-
was.
No, she was a
That gal
Soviet.
wasn't. Are you sure?
Yes, Kate Blanchett was a Russian in that movie.
They did Nazis in that last one though, didn't they?
In Dial of Destiny, I'm not
I
sure.
don't. I don't
They
remember honestly. Outside of Raiders, like even those other 3 movies, they all just kind of blend together for me.
Raiders.
4. Those are the 4 movies.
There's 5. But
Yeah.
the
So
other 4.
yeah, 4.
Raiders,
Yeah.
and then the other 4. Raiders and Last Crusade are the 2 with Nazis. In 2, it's like the weird thuggy adjacent villains. In 4, it's the Russians, and then in 5, it's I don't remember. Honestly, 5 kind of sucked. I didn't like 5.
That was fine. I thought it was fine. It wasn't. I was not offended by it.
Yeah, I just no thank you. Like when you start introducing time travel into an Indiana Jones movie, I'm not interested.
I thought that was fun. I'll tell you though, outside of Raiders, they're all same level of quality for me. Really, I think Raiders is an exceptional film.
Raiders is a perfect movie.
The rest of them are pretty fucking good.
I would say Raiders is a perfect film. I think Temple of Doom, or not Temple of Doom, Last Crusade is like a step down from that. And then the rest are like hit or miss for me.
I think they're fine.
Like,
I don't mind them at all.
Really solid movies. I think I think Temple of Doom is my number 3 by default, and then Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, and then Dial of Destiny, I think is how I had them ranked. But yeah.
Dude, yeah. That was our top 5 ranking of Indiana Jones.
I was gonna say I've just done my Disin 5 tries for Indiana Jones, but we could definitely do one.
When's he gonna, like, why didn't they have, instead of having Mutt, which I liked Mutt, like whatever, I was sad that he had died. I mean, that was kind of, I really like that they at
no
least
one wants to work with Shia LaBeouf anymore, though. Honestly,
I do like, because they didn't have to mention him at all. They didn't have to mention him at all.
No,
but they did, and I appreciated that, because some people watched Crystal Skull and thought it was fine.
Sure.
And I was one of them, and I liked the Mutt character, but I always wish that Indiana Jones, instead of having Mutt, would have had a daughter and named her Joan, so they could continue the series. No.
Indiana Joan?
No, yes. See, she would take her mother's last name, and then she would be Indiana Joan. And so when Harrison Ford, rest in peace in the future, when he goes, they'd have somebody to take over the series. And I'll tell you what, something about Dial of Destiny, I didn't like that gal. That gal was obnoxious. Who is that gal?
Phoebe Waller-Bridge. She's from Fleabag. Have you seen Fleabag?
I haven't, but I did not really like her in Dial of Destiny. She was good, but her character was annoying as fuck.
Fleabag, good show. She's also she plays the droid in Solo. CR episode on Solo.
I saw that once.
She's the droid that Lando's having a relationship with.
Oh,
yeah,
that's fun.
Yeah, because Lando Calrissian is, like Billy D. Williams, pansexual.
He's a bad dude too.
Yeah,
it's bad dude.
He is the coolest motherfucker in the galaxy. Is Lando Calrissian, and you cannot convince me otherwise.
Which is why the best casting in Solo was Donald Glover.
Absolutely. One of my favorite Lando Calrissian moments is on The Daily Show with Craig Kilborn. So that kind of time and a place. He's doing 5 questions with Isaac Hayes. And the last question is, who's cooler, you or Billy D. Williams? And Isaac Hayes' answer was, I don't play it like Billy D, to which Craig Kilborn enthusiastically decrees that is correct. Because pretty much anything you answer for the final question is correct, honestly.
Sometimes Billy D. Williams still does advertisements for Colt 45, as he has for several years.
I love that for him.
Every couple years, they'll do like a commercial or like an internet ad, and they'll put his face on the bottle again. That's pretty much the only time I drink malt liquor anymore.
Right on.
is if I see Billy D. And I'm like, I gotta get that Colt 45.
I've never had Colt 45.
You ever had malt liquor, Steven?
I've had malt beverages. I don't know if that's malt liquor though.
You ever had a 40, Steven?
I
You ever
mean, I've
sit on the
had
porch and drink a 40
no. I cannot say that I have.
on the east side of Indianapolis, Garfield
I
Park?
didn't get out to the east side very often. I grew up near Garfield Park though. The
You
Garfield
go
Park
down to the.
Garfield Park Library was my local library growing up.
That was my library when I was a kid too, Steven. The Shelby Library, they called it.
Yes.
Then I used to, you know why you could never get the Rebus books, Steven? It's because I had them.
You bitch.
And I kept renewing them.
I bet you did.
I basically owned them for like 3 years.
Just keep going back every 2 weeks to renew.
Yeah, it wasn't till I think maybe when I was in middle school we started going to the Warren Library.
And see, I never went to that one. We were always Garfield Park, and then when we moved down closer to Greenwood, we'd go to the one on the branch on Stop 11.
Oh yeah.
And then when I
Yes.
moved to the south side, they had opened a new branch like right down Southport Road, right before you get on right before the interstate now on like the 37 exit. Yeah. There's a branch right down there that I would go to.
What's that mall that's, I don't know if it's even still there, but there used to be a mall up by Glendale, up by Broad Ripple. Do you remember that mall?
No, I don't think I ever went to that one.
So the Glendale Mall, it's up by Broad Ripple, just a little bit southeast of Broad Ripple.
I do know the Glendale Mall. Sorry, yes. I lived up near there for a while and did go there from time to time. Not often.
I don't even know if the mall is still there, but I worked at that Steinmart for a while. And and they had the library in the mall. The Glendale Library was like the entire second floor of the mall. And so on my breaks
That's
right. At Steinmart, I would go up and get myself a magazine or a book or something, come down and get 2 spring rolls from the Chinese restaurant, the food court, and have myself a half an hour.
I do,
and it was
remember
fantastic.
That now,
I loved that.
That's where the Target was. My ex and I called that the bougie Target. And that was like the Target we would go to when we lived up near the state fairgrounds.
Yeah, it was weird. It was kind of multi-level because the parking lot went above the Target, and then the Steinmart was there, but then somehow they still connected. I never understood that. I never really went to the rest of the mall. I just went to the library, Chinese restaurant, Steinmart. That's my only path. If this were a family circus, those would be the only dots.
Little Billy on a really boring trek this week.
Hey man, I had fun. And one more weird Indianapolis library. Do you remember the Fountain Square Library, Steven?
I don't think I ever went to that one.
Do you know where it was?
I don't remember.
It's the corner building. So every building on the main Fountain Square intersection where Virginia and Shelby and all those roads meet. And what is that? Prospect is the other one, maybe. Anyway, where the fountain is. There is one building that is like a corner, like a sliver building, like you see in New York, where it's like a tight corner and the building's like a sliver. And it's right across from where the bank used to be.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just an old building in Fountain Square, and it was on the second floor. The bottom floor were storefronts. And this is back when you didn't really want to go to Fountain Square. This is like in the mid 90s when that was, to quote Egon Spengler, a demilitarized zone.
Correct.
Basically.
Yes.
I helped bring it back, man. I'll tell you what, like when they opened up the Fountain Square Theater, when they finally revamped that and opened it back up and started doing swing dance nights and stuff, that's where I would bring my dates in high school.
There you go. My dad still won't go to Fountain Square.
What?
Yeah, my dad still.
I don't, like, I get it. Back in the day, like I was brave and dumb, in those days.
Yeah,
So I
you
was all
were.
over Fountain Square. I remember a very different Fountain Square when I was a teenager.
Sure.
That was
Oh,
a
I took
wild fucking place.
in my young adult years, I would take like my ex at the time or my partner at the time, my ex now, and my mother to like Siam Square. Like that was like my go-to place down there because I fucking love Thai food.
Nice.
Yeah. But Lupin the Third. This episode, I feel like anyone who loves Lupin the Third is going to be really pissed off at us, and anyone who loves when we talk about Indianapolis is going to have a great time in this episode. Because this
And
episode
I'd
has
like
been
to
just nonstop us talking about indie shit.
I'd like to apologize to the former because I did really like this movie, and that is it's not a genre that I'm typically fond of, though as I've
Right.
said before on this podcast, one of my top 5 favorite movies of all time is an anime film. I generally do not like anime. Generally not my thing.
Do you
90% of the time, not my thing.
do you think the fact that this one is computer animated helped your enjoyment of the film?
I'm not sure, but we're gonna find out because I've put this character on my list. I'd like to watch some of the older animes
Same.
because if they're as fun as this, like I'm into it. I'm into it.
My favorite shot of this movie is like the pan up on the group, like the five main like characters as
Yep.
they're like getting ready to like storm the base. And it's just this cool, and Lupin's like in the middle, and then like he's flanked by the other four main characters of the movie, and it just looks so fucking cool. Like it's all of them kind of standing there with their weapons drawn, and it just looks badass. My favorite shot of
Yeah.
and I'm just like, that is an incredible shot, like just an incredible shot.
I thought
Really
I
dug it.
this whole movie visually was, I think, really, really fantastic. A lot the environmental effects were fantastic. The explosions from the what they call it,
The
what's the big
eclipse.
yes, the explosion from that, like the implosions, I guess, more of
Yes.
implosions. Those looked fantastic. That first one where the dust was like swirling around,
Uh-huh.
all that stuff looked
Amazing.
really good. All of the amazing was all of the amazing. All of the stuff in the air
Mm-hmm.
was really fantastic. That was shot very well. Well, guess not shot, but like it was the cinematography.
Yeah, which yes, animated films do have cinematography. Like there's still a camera; it still needs to be placed somewhere.
Yeah, and not that. I mean, the animation is really good in those too, but just the way they're able to move the camera so much easier with less effort because they're doing it with computers. It looks great. It looks fucking
Yeah,
seamless. Those camera
and
moves look like real camera moves. Another thing
yeah,
that gives this movie with silly looking characters, it's such a huge feeling of realism. It's a world that, like, when you're watching this movie, you're like, I could be in this world. Like, I know
yeah,
I don't look like these people, but this feels like a real place. Like, this looks like
yeah,
a real place.
absolutely. The this is a really tough movie to watch for someone who, like myself, is deathly afraid of heights. It's
Oh,
like
word.
the number two thing I'm most afraid of in this world. Is heights, and like just the scene where the two villains throw the female lead just out of the plane, just chuck her out of the plane. um Fucked me up. Like, and like I saw Up in a theater, like
Oh,
Pixar's
jeez.
Up. I saw that in a theater, and I was white knuckling my armrest for like the entire last hour of the film, pretty much,
Jeez
because that's
Louise.
all like aerial shit and like people falling, and yeah, I can't fucking handle that shit. I'm totally afraid of heights. But like the scene where they
Speaking,
chuck her out of the window and he goes diving
uh
after her, like my heart rate increased definitely, I'm sure, during those scenes,
well,
because they just, again, that is a 100% surefire way to fuck me up.
it's immersive. Watch this in IMAX Real 3D.
if they re-release it, like this got a very limited. We'll get to the box office here momentarily, but
I would go see this at the movie theater.
I
Actually,
would
I
too.
would.
This
I
got a
would pay
very
to see this.
this was one of those like Fathom event kind of releases. Like it didn't
Yeah.
get like a proper theatrical release here in the States, but it absolutely did get one in Japan. So
That's I shit on digital projection a bit
you do.
because I prefer film projection.
Hmm.
I'm biased about that for many reasons that I won't go into. But that is one thing I like about digital projection is that it gives us the opportunity to very easily play so many different things. Like you
Hmm.
can go watch plays at the movie theater. You
Yeah.
can go watch TV shows at the movie theater because you don't have somebody up there doing the Lord's work,
Hmm.
cutting those movies together and spooling them up, unspooling them and respooling them, making sure everything's, the way it needs to be. No, it's just it's easy. It's a hard drive, it's a file, which
Right.
in a lot of ways I do not like that, but I think it gives a lot of art that we wouldn't normally be able to see in public on such a big screen with good sound. It gives it an opportunity to be seen in that way, and I think that's fantastic. Stuff like this,
Right.
for example, you can go see concerts, Steven. You can just go to a concert at the movie theater.
Oh, I know.
It's fucking wild, dude.
Yeah.
Wild.
You can see fucking operas. You could see like a
Love
Rick
that.
Tracks live. Like there's so
That's
much
so
you can
rad.
do there. Yeah.
Interactive events and shit,
Yeah.
Q&As and all that jazz. That's wild.
Absolutely. It's so cool. But yeah, and sometimes they'll and honestly, it's the closest thing we have to rep screenings anymore, honestly.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
so few studios are so protective of their IP to like release them on streaming services that you almost never get rep screenings anymore. So like Fathom events are like the closest thing you can get to a rep screening anymore in
Yeah.
a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Yeah, fucking wild. But no, this movie is so much fun. It is just like a very classic heist. I do kind of like similar to some of the movies we've talked about over the last few weeks. Like I feel like with the exception of Versus, everything this month has been kind of a reboot of a franchise.
Yeah.
This month, like Zatoichi, Gamera, and this have kind of all been like attempts to reboot a franchise that have been ultimately unsuccessful. But they all kind of make me want to go back and review those franchises just to kind of see what the deal was, you know? So
Yeah.
I'm
Same.
curious.
Well, and Zatoichi for sure. I fucking hated that movie, but like based on what Sammy was saying, I think I would like the movies. I've looked into it. The box set is pretty expensive. If I want to see him first,
Sure.
but if I like him enough to buy that box set, definitely waiting for a flash sale on that motherfucker.
I
That's
was
like
gonna say the flash sale, or
it is
I know,
hundreds of dollars.
yeah,
Then again, it's 25 films.
right,
There are
July,
26 films. I think the only one that it doesn't have is the 1989 soft reboot, which was
I know,
directed by the dude who played the dude in the original movies.
right.
Yeah.
I know the July is the Barnes and Noble 50% off sale, which is usually when because that's my birthday month, so I will usually go buy
Yeah.
myself a few of those Criterion DVDs for as a birthday gift to myself.
I honestly don't think there's anything that I need right now. It's like I've kind of passed up the past couple Criterion sales.
I've got an ongoing list, and honestly, a lot of the stuff that they've been releasing lately, I'm kind of into. So I've got a lot of that shit on my list as well. I would say check like real good and see how many of those Zatoichi films are streaming. Because they may be on a platform that you have access to.
I'm a Just Watcher myself.
So okay, well, whatever
I
you
use
want.
the Just Watch app.
The Just Watch app. I think a lot of them are on the Criterion channel right now. It looks like.
I do not have the Criterion channel.
Nor I, but they have a free trial option, so that's a possibility.
Criterion channel would be fantastic That's one of those if I were rich sort of things.
Right.
I would have a subscription. It's just that a lot
If
of
I
those
were not
movies
the
I've
only one
seen.
in my house that would be watching that, I would absolutely have that streaming service. But I know
Yeah,
I would be the only person in my house that would be watching the Criterion channel.
absolutely. Go pee.
Okay.
Oh no.
Ladies, gentlemen, Othrin, we've lost Tucker.
I'm fine.
Okay.
I'm fine. I'm
If
fine.
you say so.
I'm fine.
I have no other
No,
choice
it's
but
good.
to believe you.
It's good. You know, according to Bridget Fonda and Jackie Brown, coughing is good. It opens up the capillaries, gets you higher, you know.
Okay.
I don't think that's true. I think it's just because when you cough, you don't get as much oxygen to your brain, so it enhances the fact that you're stoned because you're not getting a lot of oxygen to your brain when you're coughing. So I think that's probably more of what it is. I don't know.
That
It might have
sounds
something to
right.
do with capillaries and shit. Who knows?
Who
Maybe it's a little
knows?
bit of column A and a little bit of column B.
Maybe because the capillaries are so restricted, the blood flow is not really processing until you start coughing.
Dude, that's what
It
I'm
opens it up.
saying.
I'm just
Right?
saying. I'm just saying.
Damn.
Lupin III, though. I mean, honestly, it's a good movie. Check it out. We rented it for this viewing. You should absolutely seek out Lupin III: the First. It's a lot of fun. You'll have a good
May
time.
I say one more thing about this film, Steven?
Yeah, please say a couple more things.
No, I'm anxious to wrap this up too, because we've been bullshitting far too much on this episode. Also, I can't stop coughing, so that's fun.
You can't. Your lungs are on fuego.
Yeah, I'm in the epilogue of being ill, so there's a lot of mucus in my lungs. So that's fun. But no, I wanted to mention one more thing I really enjoyed about this movie is that with a story that is sort of as by the numbers as this is, as much as I liked this, it's a very basic story. It's a well told story,
Right.
but its beats are very basic.
Yes, I would agree with that.
But I appreciated that something that with a story like that still had time to develop what would be considered kind of stereotypical characters.
Right.
To some regard. Something I really appreciated was just the small amount of love that the old German scientist guy had for the granddaughter.
Letitia.
Like, this motherfucker basically killed her parents.
Yes.
Had her granddad killed. But still, and, you know, technically the reason he adopted her and raised her and everything was so he could use her for this very purpose.
Correct.
Like, no strings attached, nothing emotional. He was doing it for, you know, but still, he really doesn't want Homeboy to throw her off that plane.
No.
Like, and it's very subtle then because he doesn't really say anything. He's just like, maybe. So you're like, all right, dude, I guess.
Later. Yeah.
But then at the end, like when he's dying and stuff, and they have that moment, it's like, yeah, this guy was a piece of shit, but like people are fucking complicated, dude. And I really appreciated that in something kind of as silly as this.
In that moment, too, she also calls him grandfather, even though she knows he's not really her grandfather.
Dude. And I tell you, like that, you spend that much time with someone as a familiar person, no matter what's going on behind the scenes, as far as like your own consciousness or whatever, the part of you that you keep from the rest of the world outside of the role that you're playing for everyone else.
Right.
Like, stuff gets through whether you want it to or not. And I just thought that was a really kind of a really profound relationship for them to have especially a film like this. They didn't have to do that. This movie would have been fine without it. They were like, no, actually, we can do this shit too.
And I feel like that's something that anime does really well is you're able to find these silly moments, but still manage to ground it in heart, which is something that American animation does occasionally, but not as often as, I mean, Pixar notwithstanding, really doesn't do as often as it should or could. So,
Yeah.
just throwing that out there. Lupin III was released worldwide on December 6th, 2019. It was released in Japan. It earned a total of or internationally, it earned a total of $7.3 million. Here domestically, it earned $248,000. So not even $250,000 here in the States. For a worldwide box office total of 7.5 million. Not enough to get a sequel, obviously. And I look on Wikipedia. Wikipedia says that they managed to make $11 million, or a total of 1.16 billion yen, which still doesn't seem like all that much.
Yeah. What's the budget? What was the budget on this?
I don't have a budget number. Like I'm not provided with a budget number on any of the sources that I have.
It looks so good. There's no way it wasn't expensive as fuck. I really hope they
Right.
made back their money through like physical media and streaming and VOD
I mean, you and I
sales,
both rented
because
it for this, so they earned
I don't-
$5 from each of us.
Like I don't like I want to buy this just to support it,
Mm-hmm.
but at the same time, I don't know if I'm ever going to watch this again. I had a lot of fun with this, and I'm excited to watch the rest of the series. But depending on how that goes,
Right.
I might not have it unless I'm showing this to someone.
And
You know what I mean?
there are a couple of other Lupin the Third films that we can cover. There are actually 2 live action Lupin the Third films that did not get sequels.
Oh,
so
that sounds horrible.
We can cover those on a future Big in Japan month, if we so decide.
Let's wait a while. Wait until I can get into the series proper, because I don't want that shit to ruin it for me. Because that
Understood.
This live action, no. Nope.
Not into it?
No. Hell no. No.
Noted. Your dissent
Not into it.
is noted. But opening this week in the United States, I guess no new releases this week, actually.
Nothing that charted, at least.
Right. I think the earliest new release this week is the Playmobil movie. Future episode of this podcast, the Playmobil movie, and that opened at number 14. So, do with that information what you will.
we should do a month of those kind of movies. Like we do the Spirit Halloween movie. Like stuff like
brand
really
movies?
fucking disgusting brand movies. Yes.
The Lego Batman movie.
I can't. I tried to watch that and it's great. I love it, but it's too ADHD for me. Like
Fair.
Halfway through, I had to stop it and be like, "Can I just go outside and get some fresh air?" Because I feel like I
touch some fucking grass.
Please, it all comes at you so quickly, Steve. Maybe I'm too old for it.
Maybe
my nieces love it.
Sure.
And I watched it with them, but about halfway through, I was like, "You guys, my brain's gonna explode. Like this is fantastic, but my brain's actually gonna explode right now because it's too much."
Yeah.
It's too much. Some movies you're like, man, can we play this at double speed? Could I slow Lego Batman down, actually?
Right.
Because I'm interested in everything that's happening, but fuck.
Yeah.
Calm down.
Calm
Jeez Louise.
fuck down. Yes. But at number 1 at the box office this week, in its 3rd week in release, is Frozen 2: Electric Boogaloo.
Oh, cool.
In 2nd place, one of
Whatever.
my favorite movies of 2019, Knives Out. Looking forward to that 3rd movie from Rian Johnson.
Yeah, way into it. Speaking of, Poker Face Season 2 premieres next week, I believe.
Fucking A. Okay, cool. Good
On
deal.
the Peacock. As they call it. The Peacock.
I don't know anyone that calls it that.
The Peacock.
In 3rd place, in its 4th week, Ford v Ferrari. What if
Cool.
Ford v'd Ferrari?
What if What if, man? Fuck.
What if? Fucking what if? In fourth place in its second weekend, Queen and Slim, which I've heard
The
is
fuck is
great.
that?
That's Daniel Kaluuya and Issa Rae, I believe.
I like those motherfuckers.
Right. I was gonna say like two incredible act. No, I'm sorry. It is not Issa Rae. My God, my apologies. Why do I talk? It's actually Jodie Turner Smith. My apologies.
I don't know who that is.
Chloe Sevigny is in that movie as well. Bokeem Woodbine, Flea, Sturgill Simpson. Looks like a really fucking solid cast. I don't know
I
why
like
I
a lot
thought
of
it was
those
Issa
people.
Rae. Yeah.
Yeah, well.
And then in fifth place, A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, which is that when Tom Hanks plays what the Mr. Rogers.
That's a sweet little movie. I liked that
That's
movie.
what I've heard.
It's not great, but like it's just so sweet
Yeah.
that it wins you over.
Yeah.
Because Fred Rogers, Tom Hanks,
Mm-hmm.
he could have just like barked like a dog for 2 hours and it still would have been fantastic. Like
I'm not into Tom Hanks like that, but I'm a lot of people are, and that is
I'm not like super into. Into Tom Hanks, as you know, as more of a comedic actor. I appreciate his
Right.
comedic performances more so than his dramatic performances. But I do recognize that he is a very talented man,
Sure. I can recognize
and
that.
he good in that movie. He doesn't sound like Fred Rogers. He doesn't look like Fred Rogers, but he
No.
channels that man's spirit.
It's the energy.
In a way, yeah.
It's the energy. Correct. Rounding out the top 10, we've got Dark Waters at number 6, 21 Bridges at number 7, Playing with Fire at 8, Midway at 9, and Last Christmas at 10.
I don't know what any of these movies are.
I know the 21 Bridges is the Chadwick Boseman, like Russo brothers produced movie where he's like, we got to close down the 21 bridges leading into Manhattan because we got to catch this murderer.
I've got nothing, man. I've never heard of that.
Last Christmas, I
once.
think, is the Emilia Clarke movie where she dies, and that, but because so it's technically her last Christmas, something like that.
I thought it was based on the Wham song.
No, I mean it's named after the Wham song, and Henry Golding is in it as well. Just like one of the most attractive men ever to be entered into the world.
Well, he's no Rupert Everett.
I don't know, man. Like, take a look. The tomatometer score for Lupin III: the First is 95%.
Yeah.
The critics' consensus featuring visually striking CGI animation of its famed characters, Lupin III: the First, is a charming and old-fashioned adventure romp.
For sure. Accurate. Facts.
The Metascore is a 63. Based on generally favorable reviews from 5 critics. Tucker, care to take a stab at the Letterboxd score on this one?
I'm gonna say, well, it's anime related,
right?
So, well, fuck.
Well, fuck indeed.
All right, I'm having some. The wheels are turning.
Okay.
The wheels are turning. If I didn't have headphones on, there'd be a little bit of smoke coming out of my ears. You would see it.
Okay. Yeah, it's
trapped. The gears are. Those gears, they're grinding. I'm gonna say a 3.6. To 4.0.
Literally 3.6.
I still got it.
You just got it.
Still got it.
You just got it. What about you, Tucker? Out of 5 stars, how are you rating Lupin III: the First?
Yo, this is a 3.5 star movie for me.
I was gonna say I'm putting
and
it.
Let me tell you,
I'm putting
the only reason that it is 3.5 instead of 4 or 4.5 is, like I say, it's still. I mean, this is a fantastic movie, but it's still not really up my alley.
Right.
You know, like I had a great time, and that's why I was saying before, like I want to buy this to support the creators because I think this is fantastic. I respect the shit out of this movie, but I don't think that I would watch it again unless I was showing it to someone.
Right.
It's not to say that I couldn't watch it again and not still have a good time. It's just that I've got I mean, my backlog is insane.
Right.
You know,
I
maybe I
understand.
will buy it because, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what's out
It's
there.
it's fun, and you never know when you might want to revisit it,
I'd
honestly.
love a commentary, but I doubt it would be in English.
Right. That you'd probably have some difficulty with that.
Fuck a duck.
You'd probably have to learn Japanese.
Yeah, well, I guess I'll have to, for the Lupin III, the first commentary, I will Duolingo some motherfucking Japanese.
There it is. But no, this one's fun. Check this one out. This
It's
one,
so good.
it is Tucker's favorite of this series by a mile, it feels like.
I would say this is probably my third favorite anime film of all time.
Okay. That's and high praise indeed, quite frankly.
Yeah. And I like about maybe 12, 15 anime films.
There you go. So, yeah,
It's up there.
it's up there.
Way
And
up there.
up there where it belongs. And that is our episode on Lupin the Third: the First. It is also our the end of our Big in Japan: even bigger, Big in Japan 2: even bigger theme month. This has been the Disenfranchised Podcast. You can find us on social media at Disenfranchised Pod. I think we're on Bluesky, Letterboxd, and YouTube these days. You can shoot us an email, disenfranchisepod@gmail.com. Let us know how we're doing. Subscribe to our Patreon. You can join for free and join the official conversation. Ooh, I'm high. Of the Disenfranchised Podcast, or you can give us $5. I will tell you, I recently scavenged all of the Rule of Thirds episodes, and they will be going up relatively soon. Tucker is going to be recording a special episode on the 2024 film The Apprentice with a friend of the show, Evan Jimmy. What's he going by?
Wilson.
Now?
Evan Wilson. Can I tell you just a short anecdote about how that came about? So Jimmy texts me and he's like, "Hey man, do you wanna go halvesies on renting The Apprentice?" And I was like, "Yeah, I kind of fucking do actually, because he mooches off my Prime Video."
Right.
Which is great because the less people giving money to Amazon, the better, whether it's me or not.
100%.
Because I am, and I'm ashamed of myself, but invincible and shit.
Sure.
So he's on my Amazon Prime Video account, and I was like, "Look, man, I will pay for the entire rental if you just record a super special Patreon episode of the pod with me about this movie." Because Jimmy is my most political friend.
Oh, I
Of
am
all of my
excited to hear this
friends.
episode. I've not seen this movie, but I'm legitimately excited to listen to this episode.
Of all of my friends, Jimmy is the most politically active, the most politically concerned, and the most politically knowledgeable person that I know. And that's I don't know where the bar is on that, but he knows his shit most of the time. The one time he did ask me why they don't just print more money, and I was like, "Wait a minute. You're not really asking me that, right? Like I trusted you up to this point. What do you mean? What the fuck do you mean?"
Right. What are we doing here, man?
No, he knows his shit, with a few exceptions.
As evidenced by this conversation, right?
Well, he gets it now. I explained it to him why you can't just print more money, why that doesn't work. So he gets
Thank
it
you for
now.
your service.
And he felt dumb, but I comforted him with a beer.
That's good comfort.
Yeah, it's like, it's all right. Somebody had to tell me the same way I'm telling you.
As someone who just drank 32 ounces of a 10% ABV,
that's
Belgian
a lot of
triple,
ounces. It's a lot of ounces.
Yeah,
it's time. Give your socials. I'll give my socials. Then we'll get the fuck out of here, Steven.
Yeah, man. I'm. You can find me on. What am I on? Letterboxd and Bluesky at Chewy Walrus. You can find our absent co-host Brett Wright at sus_warlock on Letterboxd. Tucker, where can we find you on socials these days?
I am on Instagram and YouTube at Ice909. That's ICENINE, the number 0 and the number 9. Tuck Mug still exists. It's in a state of limbo. Blah 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 whatever. Because nobody cares anyway. So Tuck Mugs, Tuck_Mugs, Instagram. Go subscribe. Show it some love. We're moving it to Bluesky. I just don't know when.
Just don't know when, just don't know how. But there it is. Until then, next week, we're doing something completely different. We've done 3 consecutive theme months in a row. We're going off the reservation for the next few months. So stick with us. It's gonna be a fun time. I don't think we have another theme month scheduled until next season. But for the rest of from now till September, it's going to be some really fun episodes. We've got some fun guests planned for the next few months. It's going to be a good time. And patrons know ahead of time what we're covering each month. And if there are any updates to that, we let them know before we let anyone else know. For example, we had something else scheduled this week, and we covered Lupin III instead. So patrons knew what the original plan was, and they're going to know what we're releasing before you do.
We'll never know what Plan B was, though.
No. And I wasn't even going to mention that there was a Plan B. That was all you, man. Per the conversation we had earlier tonight, I wasn't even going to mention it, but there you go. So there was another plan. And
I just wanted a Twilight Zone style twist at the end, you know?
There we go. So that's it. That is our Big in Japan 2 Even Bigger theme month. I can't believe we went through an entire Japanese theme month without having Brett on a single episode.
That's a tragedy. At least we got straight up Sammy.
We can't do a Japanese theme month without having Sam on.
How could you? I would quit if we did.
Legitimately, we could not. He is our.
I would protest outside of the disenfranchised offices.
Right.
I would protest with little signs.
Absolutely. Yeah. As well, you should. So until next week, where we will be covering an American English language film, I promise, from a fairly well-known and until recently well-regarded franchise. Until next time, I'm your host, Stephen Foxworthy, from my co-host Tucker and the absent Brett Wright. Until next time, I don't know. Lupin III was a good movie. I don't know what to tell you.
Love lifted up where we belong.